Hello there, if you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe. This man was sentenced to death by dissection. His name is John Horwood, and was born in United Kingdom at Honham Mills. He was the 10th child and the youngest. John became involved in the coal mining industry. Even though his whole family worked there and it was the main business in the area, John only worked there for 2 years. John fell deeply in love with a girl named Eliza Balsam. He became so interested in her that he started to follow her. Eventually, he quit his full-time job just to see her every day. We don't know if Eliza ever liked John, but it's clear that he didn't care. His desire for her turned into an obsession, and he began to bother and follow her. In January 1821, John saw Eliza out at night with a group of people, including 2 men. John didn't think twice before throwing a stone at her, which hit the right side of her head. Eliza made it home in the end, but she was sick and in a lot of pain. She kept going to the Bristol infirmary to get her head checked, but she wasn't admitted until the end of January. Eliza got sick, which was a sad thought. She had a fever she couldn't get rid of, and headaches that kept coming back. Her wound was red and swollen all over. It looked like the big stone had made a deep crack in her head. In the end, Eliza died from a brain abscess. John Horwood, who was only 18 that time, was found guilty of murder and was sentenced to be hung, dissected, and have his skin tanned by surgeon Richard Smith. I'll give you a short background about Dr. Smith. From 1796 until his death, Dr. Richard Smith worked as a surgeon at Bristol Infirmary. He is known for many things, including dissecting criminals who had been executed. In April 1802, he took apart the bodies of 2 women who had been hanged on St. Michael's Hill for killing their babies. He also took apart the brain of another convicted criminal and gave a lecture about it in front of the mayor and aldermen. Smith had a lot of strange and sometimes scary things, like death masks he made of criminals who had been hanged. Most of his large anatomical collection was given to him by his father, who was also a surgeon. He used it to give lectures at the Bristol Institution for the Philosophical and Literary Society. He also collected things from all over the world, like clothes and weapons from native North Americans and taxidermy. Some of his collection is now at Bristol Museum, Bristol Archives, and Bristol Infirmary, where he gave some of it. Anyway, back to the main story. If you can believe it, his skin was peeled off and made into leather, so that Smith could bind the book with a detailed record of what he found when he looked at John's body. Crossbones and skulls are drawn on the front cover of the book. The title of the book is Cutis Vera Johannes Horwood, which means the skin of John Horwood. So why did they skin and cut up Horwood? Because in the early 1800s, there were so many murders that Parliament decided to add some further terror and peculiar mark of infamy to the punishment of being hanged to death. After Easter 1752, a law was passed that said the bodies of murderers who had been put to death should be given to surgeons to study. For many years, John Horwood's skeleton hung from a rope in a Bristol University closet. When Mary Hallowell found out she was related to John, his body was finally laid to rest. Even the funeral was planned by her.